Welcome back to the Icon Show, the space where we go behind the brand, behind the breakthroughs, and really deep into the stories of entrepreneurs who didn't just survive, they have rose. I'm your host, Jordan Lene, entrepreneur, speaker, mentor, and I really help leaders turn their voice into visibility, authority, and legacy. And today, this conversation is for the woman who knows she is growing but doesn't recognize the version of herself she's becoming yet. Because what happens when success doesn't just elevate your business, but it requires you to become someone new? Let me introduce you to our very special guest today, Sabra Taylor Smith. I'm so honored to have you here today with us and going deep into what really transpired, what is something that really shifted you in a way in your business and your company.
I'm Sabra Taylor Smith, and I've been in the glass industry, so auto glass, for 30 years
Hey,
and building relationships. So I started out as answering phones as the customer service rep, and then worked my way up all the way to being a partner. And then I became another partner for company two. And, what really shifted for me is where I'm at today, which we don't talk about when you sell a business and then you're working for that business. And so that's where my I'm still working on it. And it's really hard to, when you walk into a room as an owner and you have employees, and then now the shift changes that I am now the business development. So really my identity changed with that because of the title. And so then I tried to figure out how I could grow with that. So self-help books, your podcast, the women that go through challenges on a day-to-day basis, trying to get out our self-doubt of, so I started writing, and that's where Glass Ceilings and Signature Souls became, is really because we think of glass ceilings as above, right? So I've hit that level. Well, it actually shifted to where it was around me, and noticing that I wasn't grounded or I was doubting myself in rooms that I owned. Like I led, I did all that. So that's kind of where my challenge is how to grow through that space, because my identity was I'm a partner, I'm an owner of this glass company that I fought and built together. And now I just sit in the boardroom with the new owners and helping them grow. So it's very different.
very different. How many years did you have that business and how many years were you an owner of that?
So it's funny because someone asked me this question the other day, and I go, well, this has actually been a 10-year process
Okay.
because I was a partner and I had 12 partners at the time. So my role was a little different in that ownership, right? So we had that business for 3 years. But to shift from being a partner, and I was a small partner within 5 companies, we literally going from sales to sales, even though I did have some stake in the ownership, that was totally easy to go through. But I still had some feelings. Did not realize that until just recently. Because as I was writing this, I'm like, wait, I felt those emotions 10 years ago. My friendships changed. The way I saw clients, they changed. And I didn't identify it until just recently. So this business, we are just hitting 5 years. But I had it for four. I had it for 4 years, and then we sold, and it's been 1 year since the sale.
I'm so happy that this is going this way because a lot of people don't sell their business. So that is a huge identity right there.
Yes.
And that's such power right there.
Well, and so many people don't, when they sell the business, they move on. They don't help grow, or they don't help the new owner, or they'll have a transition period, right? Where they're just kind of seeing their way out. Well, that's not for me. I plan on retiring at this business and helping them grow. And because one of the reasons that we sold to them specifically was because of the support that they offer. They were moving to Colorado anyway. I did not want to compete with them. I wanted to partner with them somehow. And this was the better choice to take care of our customers. And at the end of the day, that's what it matters is the customer service, one windshield at a time, they say.
Yes.
But even for our employees, better benefits because we were so small, better work life balance, and where I got stuck as an owner, where again, did not identify it at the time until now, where I was actually bottlenecking my business because I was doing, when people would call in sick, I was the person. I was in every detail from the first time the phone rang till the end of the job. And I literally was creating more chaos than actually building and streaming and growing. Did not realize that until after the sale. I'd sit back and I can't be a part of the operations anymore. And I go, okay, can I really go out and just see my customers and have that trust that they're going to take care of them? And they're employees that I hired. So, absolutely, that trust is there. It just definitely is a mind shift.
It's a whole different shift, and, being an employee of your own company and then going and then being an employee, the 2 different mindset shifts right there, and what are some of the ways that helped you? You were saying that you were reading books and you were during that whole identity shift that has been a process, you said, for 3 or 4
Yeah.
years? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. So what really helped me was writing about it. Really writing and getting grounded and not second guessing myself. I mean, I have a whole list of books that have helped me transition too. But I literally found myself in my 20s again going, do I belong in this space? Do I belong in these networking groups? Do I belong anywhere? And, I was reading on how to be clearer with
With your message.
words,
Yes.
clearer with my message, clearer with how I lead as not an actual owner, right? I'm not the employer anymore. And so to find those words, I finally found that I didn't need the perfect words. I just needed a clearer message. And that's where I really have to deep dive. And I'm like everybody out there, I have a little ADHD. And so I'm like, wait, what squirrel? Here we go. Bring it back, focus. And
How
I
many of you here can feel that right now? Yes.
Right?
Good.
We're so busy coming in and, I realized that that was one of the problems that I was having is I couldn't let my employees grow either because I literally was trying to get my hands into operations, into sales, into business development. I mean, I didn't have a salesperson in my grip. It was just me. So it literally was Sabra's glass company when I should have been really focusing on how to grow. And so the one thing that really helped me is I created the Glass Ceilings book, and it's just keep on walking. You take one step, be grounded, even when it's unclear, it's uncomfortable, you still just need to be grounded. And I, for the longest time, hated shoes. I hate shoe shopping. I hated it, hated it. And then when I got into my 30s and 40s, I have a passion of shoes. And now I literally have some amazing shoes, and that's where, you do have to be grounded in the rooms that you walk in the business. And once I started wearing these amazing shoes, I mean, people don't even recognize my outfit. They just know me for the shoes now because
Let's
they're
go.
so bizarre. They're so fun.
These shoes, yes.
Right? And so that's when I have great shoes on, I literally can do anything no matter what. Even though in here my heart's beating, my soul is shaking, my mind just goes completely blank. I don't even know what my name is. I learned that I needed to be grounded and I could be focused on how I speak, how I lead, and how I try to empower other people, especially our staff. They're amazing people. They have some great strengths. And someone asked me why I hired certain people, and I said, because what I lack, they have. And I really built a team that really we had our weaknesses, and I had some strong, strong reps that just made our company grow.
Oh my gosh, the book, Who, What, How, who are the people that can do the things that honestly, a lot of times we don't want to do, but they are so good at doing those things.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
so happy you brought up the shoes. This is such a great book also, if you have not read this book before, Alter Ego. It is so good, but it's like the Superman cape. When we put that on and we go on stage, we feel that power, and for you, it's the shoes, and people know you for the shoes, so I'm so happy that
Yeah.
that up today.
Yeah.
Such a great
Well, it's
story.
kind of so my story started when I was in so I became obsessed with the red bottom shoes, right? And so I traveled to Paris with my mother and I dragged her to all of his boutiques and didn't find the shoes. Did
God,
not find the one I wanted, and or it was the wrong size. It didn't have my style. Like everything was just wrong. And, as I was writing this, I looked back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had so many emotions and I literally just ate gelato the whole time I was in Paris because I was eating my emotions. And
yeah.
again, I didn't recognize that. And it's funny because I was talking to my mom the other day about this and I said, I'm just going to tell you, I'm writing about the story about going to Paris. She's like, oh, when you dragged me to all those weird stores that had the weird shoes and the spikes and because my mom she's very modest
Yes.
and she's very she likes her style, right? And so to see the spiky shoes and the high heels, that's just not her style. So yeah, it was kind of nice to relive that moment. But again, it was I had saved every penny. I was going to buy these shoes and just the letdown and then that shifted too because your mindset, you're all excited, and then I'm like, want, doesn't work. What's gonna happen next in my life that I didn't get these shoes? Now I have to go buy them from Caesar's Palace, right? In Vegas. I'm like,
Shoot.
that wasn't the point of this. I was in Paris, the whole meaning of that. And unfortunately, little did I know, 20 or 15 years ago that that's where my journey was gonna start.
Oh my gosh, and what a beautiful journey. It's almost like it kinda takes it where in business, we're trying to control the situation, and when we're not in control, what do? We snack. We're
Yes.
trying to numb
Yes.
that pain, but then it's also like, okay, when we just release that control, then we're right there, right? Or let's go there in that story. Yes.
Yes. Yes. It's amazing how things change in our lives, and we don't know how to identify that, and we don't know how to label it.
Right.
Right. And so we kind of go through the emotions of self doubt, second guessing everything, every life choice that we've made, whether it's been, I mean, I know that for me, it was like my relationships and not just in business, but my personal relationships. And when we sold the first business, I lost a lot of friendships. A lot of people were mad at me because I could not tell them that we were selling. We were friends. And so those relationships shifted and you forget who you are when things change.
You're just bringing up so many golden nuggets and so much good
Yes.
because a lot of times we don't speak these situations, and these situations are what really shifts our businesses. Relationships are one of the key points also in business, and it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, now because again, when someone asked me how long this has been going, I'm like, I can't believe it's been almost well, actually, it's been 12 years now that I was going through that. And then finally, as a sole owner, I mean, I had two partners. And so
Yes.
there was the three of us, but I was in Colorado. They were out of state. And so
Okay.
literally I ran this business. Prior time, I had 12 partners and they were all involved. So there was that difference where I didn't recognize it, but it still happened. And again, when we get older, we learn a lot more. We understand different things happen in our lives that we just kind of have to muddle through and walk through rooms that we have owned before and walking in rooms that we feel like we shrink ourselves. And I know that we as women have a tendency, and I'm in a male dominant business, right? So to me, I don't know. I think I've been in this industry for so long, I kind of forget that I have to listen sometimes because I hear them that I don't, whatever works, I'm just here to,
Yes.
install their windshield and that's it. But you forget as roles change and titles shift I mean, everybody, I think, unless you're, your first job, but when you go to your second job, your third job, your fifth career, I mean, there's a lot of people that are on their seventh different journey, right? In different times of being entrepreneurs or trying something. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur because I love the creative side, and
Yes.
I've always been one to try anything, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
I love Fit, Fab, and Fabulous and Fun, whatever it is, the box. And so I wanted to do a gifting box. And so I'm like, I'm going to start my own business and do this. And when I was doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. I think I'll pass. And I took a boot camp and I learned about it. And I'm actually, and the way I'm written in the book is I'm what not to do. If I would have followed her steps, I would have had a successful business. And sometimes we think I get what she's going with, but I think I can do it better. And we seem to find ourselves, I can do it better than someone else. And then I'm going to go through those mistakes and do things. And as entrepreneurs, sometimes that's good. Other times, no, why are we making the same mistakes?
It's that rabbit or the hamster wheel effect.
Yes, yes, I can do
We
it
think
better.
that we can do it fast or we can get into the class, but it's really getting into the class, modeling what they're doing and taking that
Right.
into action, exactly what you just said. It's the 1%.
It is. It is absolutely, absolutely, and I've learned a lot of lessons, and I still have, like, Post-it
Yes.
notes with everything around going, "Okay, remember, this is how I'm supposed to act today. Okay, remember, this is how I need to," because, I've learned over time that, especially having employees, that not everybody learns the same. Not everybody is cookie cutter where they instill customer service, right? Some people are gifted with that gift. Other people, you have to train them. And everybody doesn't receive criticism the same. Everybody does not receive compliments the same. And shifting that with me being there, me giving them reviews every year to now I'm just their support system. And so changing that too really was eye opening,
Mm.
where I wasn't leading them, I'm supporting them. And I think sometimes with the title changes too, that we forget how to do that. So,
Yes, yes. Going there, would like to talk a little bit more about that, for getting that. What are some ways that helped you remember?
so I am definitely a paper person and a little notes. I take a lot of notes, notepads everywhere I go because I write things about, well, and even being in sales, right? I need to know about certain people and what they like, what they don't like. I mean, and finally, I learned how to read them and I kept on asking them the hard questions. How did you receive this? How did you take this? And give me your feelings. And so when I was a leader and trying to lead them on what to do was right, I've now had to shift to what can I do to support you? So now I have little post-it notes that say, how can I help? How can I support? And how can I learn from this too to help them grow? Because I grow every day. I'm literally a weed by the end of the day after all my stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I got to water that. So, what do I need to do to feed my soul? What do I need to do to grow more than I was yesterday? And that's one of the things that I really try to be is better than I was yesterday. And that's kind of what, and staying grounded. And I do talk in circles sometimes. And then I'm like, oh, wait, focus, focus. What were we saying? And just trying to get back to the basics, having that clarity of what am I doing and what are my takeaways? And that's one of the things that I try to do with other people is, okay, how did they feel? How did they receive it? Okay, not in a good way sometimes. I now need to shift or change my delivery because at one point in my career nobody wanted to talk to me except my clients because I'm so bubbly and wonderful. But when it came to business, here's my order. This is what I need done. And I'm moving on. Like there's no time to cookie cut. Put sugar on that. So I was very known as being very direct and curt. And I'm like, that's not me at all. But once I heard that, I understood it, how it was being perceived. And so I shifted just a few words. It made a huge difference of how I was being perceived and how I led is like, I'm here to help you, not to hurt you.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we get a little more emotional when it's people that we admire, when they're close to our friends or somebody that we put on a pedestal, that we really believe that we we take things more to heart when actually it's just face value.
It's the 1%, the growing the 1% every single day, and always continuing to grow. It's always continuing to become better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Well, and even when you're an owner, right?
Mm,
Because and that's kind of where the glass ceilings piece comes in is I've been an owner,
mhm.
so I've made it. I've made what I thought was a success.
Yes.
Although there were days where, 20 hours at the office, how is that success and how is that growth? And falling at on my way to work at 4 a.m. going, oh my gosh, if one customer gets a bad experience with me, that's my whole identity. And I think when I was doing that, I'm like, how is this success? Like,
Mm,
when people go, oh, I'm just living the dream. I'm like, what dream? Because this is not what I dreamed about. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs, we have that burn in our soul that we want to go and we want to help people and we want to solve a problem. We want to have employees and actually be a part of our community. And I think when we get to that point, it's hard. And I know that there's a lot of people that talk about the hard, but it is so hard. And the successes that I loved is I actually did get the opportunity to be an owner, to help people in their livelihoods and to help the community to, make awareness of the hard things, but I don't think anybody realized that because every morning at 7:30, I, shifted and we do shift, right? We put on that smiley face of, everything's going okay, even though we're, $500,000 in the hole trying to make payroll. We don't talk about that as much. We don't talk about the hard things. And that's one of the things where I was shrinking myself, going, wait, I do need to talk these things through, just not with my employees. So there was that shift too of who do I confide in, and that's when I started getting mentors and really finding my sounding boards.
who are the people that we can speak at these hard times? And this is why this show is so amazing because we as entrepreneurs have wanted to give up, have wanted to quit during those resilient times because it is hard and it can be really hard. And there's been a lot of bankruptcy. It's been, $100,000 in debt. There's been $1 million in debt, and how to go through that and look, not so much looking back, but the remembrance of, man, I am strong. I am here. I'm icon.
Right.
Having to go into that that time, um, and what you really did to carry through on that hard, resilient time.
Yeah, and that was the thing is, I've always been resilient. I've always been known as I care. I do have a heart. I
Yes.
care, but I have been categorized or told that, oh, she just doesn't care about anything. And I'm like, oh, I'm more passionate than I let on because I do wear a lot of emotions on my sleeves to certain people. Not everybody gets to see that, but to certain people. And I learned from a long time ago that, I want to help people and not everybody wants my help and not everybody needs my help the way I help as well. And so learning those skills and trying to find the right people of who my people are or who my
Finding your people.
tribe, right? You find your tribe. I've learned that it's okay not to fit in any of those little boxes. And when I was talking about that and when I was trying to come up with the title for my craziness and how to shift from when the title shifts, profits, it's not a dirty word. the clarity over comfort and some of these other things that I really had to anchor. I'm like, my glass ceiling looks different than a lot of others because my glass ceiling, it wasn't above me. It literally was around me. It was how I walked into places. It was how I ground myself in to my new office, which isn't my office anymore. It's our office. So just with that mind shift has been very therapeutic for resilience anyway.
No, most definitely. Huge, huge shift in the resilience and stepping into all of that. The quiet times that keep you going
Yeah.
in that resilience and in that time, it all leads back to the clarity, the calm, the quiet seasons.
Well, and that's one thing that I learned was redefining my success beyond titles because I didn't realize I would. And, when you're in it and you're the owner and you don't realize what you're defining and defining success because success looks so different for everyone. For me, it was getting a pair of shoes that I didn't end up getting in Paris. Little did I know, 14 years later, here I am redefining being an owner. Now I'm a business development director and helping another company grow of what I started. Those shifts have really eaten up my core days. And then there's other days where, oh my gosh, I am so proud of all the things that I do. And I still get to help people. I get to help my community. I get to do things that I once thought that only as an owner could be a part of. And you forget what you're capable of when your title changes. Because we do. I think as human beings and even women, we attach ourselves to those roles and we take pride in everything we do, whether it's motherhood or sisterhood, entrepreneurship, I mean, leadership, I mean, any of that, we identify, even though that may not be our personality, that may not, but we put a tag on it and we forget how to shift.
We forget, and I feel that life is so full of so many shifts. I personally have been an entrepreneur for 17 years. So when you're saying the tags and the names and the CEO and the founders and then going back and kind of changing your title, it's a huge shift
Yes.
in the identity. But in as you were just speaking, I think it's also a beautiful thing because the time, do you feel like you had more time? Do you feel like you were not so much working 8 days a week? How did that change and all
So
of that?
it's actually been kind of refreshing, but now I'm busier now than I have at any given time. Because now I'm actually going and seeing people and actually building our business, when before I was all in operations and making sure that every job that came through our line was successful. Like
Okay.
I was in my hands in everything. And so that shift, being out now, seeing our community partners, building networking partners, and growing more has been so much more fulfilling than being the owner, which I never thought I would ever say. Like literally, I never thought I would. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I am an owner, and I love being an owner because I loved seeing the success and the gratification from a customer writing. I mean, we could screw up a job and the customer would still come back to us because of how we handled it. Like that was so gratifying. And now I get to see our team members that same gratification, and it's on a different level. Like I never thought I would be saying these words and and seeing it, because back then it was more all about, okay, what's the customer, and now I get to really enjoy the successes of my employee that were once my employees, instead of how can I lead them, how can I make them better at what they do, and now I get to actually witness it. So that has been a great change and a great shift. And I do miss working in the office every once in a while, but it's so good to see the people that have been helping me build my business. Because there was a time where if one of our staff would call in sick, I would be answering our phones. I would step in, do all hats, or my tag is wear all shoes, right? There's different levels. You
Yes.
know, you run the business, you wear your running shoes, you
We
know,
might
your
have to
high
call
heels.
we might have to
Yeah.
call this show that "Wear All Shoes." Yes.
You know, you're wearing all those roles and you
Mhm.
don't get to see the fulfillment of your employees. You get lead them and you get to see that success, but seeing it on a peer to peer is so different. And it's so rewarding for me when I see, and we have one in particular that she has done so much in such a short amount of time. And I applaud her for that
Yeah.
because literally, when she was my employee, I could see the growth and I was like, "You can get there." And I was trying to be the cheerleader and to lead her to that. But now that I am her peer, I can see it full force. So,
It's so incredible just being able to step back and kinda see the bigger picture and the different angles of being the partner, basically the same. Yes.
yeah,
Such a
it was definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting season or a shift that I'm in now,
great.
but it's so fun. It's so fun to be rewarded because that's one of my passions is to help people grow to whatever level they want. You know, I want to help them. And when you're in the business, sometimes you can't see it as much as when you're next to them. Because we definitely want our business to succeed at whatever level, right? We want to hire the right people and get the right fit and have the same passion. And one thing that I learned is I tried to find employees that were different than I am because, you know, you pick up the slack. And when you find the right team, you're building towards one goal and you find those employees that have the same passion as you, but nobody will when it's your own. You know, you drive, you work those extra hours, you don't clock in a clock. And now I find myself sometimes struggling because I'm like, I have all this work and I'm like, it can wait till tomorrow. I'm like, no, it can't because that's just not who I am as an individual. But yeah, I can see how some days I overload myself when it's not necessary just because of that.
Mm. It's just kinda written in you,
It is. Yeah.
a part of you, and that's why, they have the most incredible employees
Yeah.
or part of the company, and what you built.
Well, and leadership is so different too, right? Because you can be a leader from above, you can be a leader on the side, you can be a leader below. And when you think of the word leadership, to me, it's always at the top. And as I have shifted titles to titles, and again, 14 years ago, when we sold our first partner venture with my 12 partners, I didn't realize that because my role was similar but different. I had a stake in the company, but I wasn't leading it and I wasn't hiring and firing people. I wasn't the whole piece of it. And so I didn't recognize it until just recently, even though it has always been there and burning a hole in me and trying to label it, put a thing on it. Why am I working out so much? Why am I shifting my energy? And I noticed that too, is we do shift our energy and what we focus on. And my family probably suffered a little more than they should have, but you know, they were right behind me for the most part.
But it's all they know a lot of times
Yes.
too, because we see the bigger picture, but a lot of times they've been there since
Mhm.
the stake in the ground, since the line in the sand.
Yes.
So the definition of success to you is not it's a little bit different. It's talking about the definition of what you feel is success.
Yeah. So the definition of my success would be just helping others lead their way.
Ooh, that's so good.
Because I've been to the, you know, I've been a CEO, I've been the
You've been
director,
all the hat, all the shoes.
I've been all those
Yes,
shoes, you know? I didn't realize when I put on my first pair of Brooks that it was gonna be a run, and then now I'm in the high heels because I'm now out in marketing, and now
yes.
I'm wearing, you know, fashionable red bottoms. Who knew, right? Because that was my success point, and now it's how to help others lead at any level. Because I think we forget, even when you're whatever motherhood, just a friend, or you're, serving anything, you don't realize that you can help lead no matter what the title is.
Yes, it's
So,
the icon, it's the legend. We were creating legends and generational, and that's such a
I mean, I've
beautiful.
always been a legend in my own
Yes,
mind, right?
yes. You are the icon, girl. Yes.
I always laugh because my name is Sabra, and it came from the movie Cimarron back in the 60s with Glenn Ford. My dad named me, and I have no middle name. And my sister, same thing. My sister's name is Shayla, but it's spelled Xela. So my father really made us some legacies.
He
And that's one
did.
of the things of, Glass Ceilings in Signature Souls is it literally is presence, purpose, and the footprint you leave.
Oh my gosh, and this is a book. You have this book out, or is this
Not yet. It just got
okay,
back from editor. Just got back from
okay,
editor, so it's almost there. We just finished the cover. Yeah, so I have samples of the
okay,
cover on Facebook and LinkedIn
hey,
for Saber Taylor Smith. But yeah, but it literally is the footprint because we all remember that one person that left a mark on us, right? Whether good, bad, or indifferent, we all have that, and that's one thing that we want to do as success is what's our legacy? Do we leave it for our children? Do we leave it for the people that we come and interact with? And the one thing that I've always wanted is I've always want someone to remember me if I remember her and not just because of my name.
mm, it's
So
so beautiful, and we will drop all of the links in the show notes also, so you can stay tuned for when her beautiful book comes out. Must read. The Glass Ceiling, and there couldn't be a better title for everything that you do and the three-step process. Incredible.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I also have to ask you really quick, did you ever get
Yes.
shoes?
So there,
Or is
okay.
it
So
said
not to
at the end of the
spoil,
book and that's the secret?
but there's more to these shoes.
Okay.
There is more to these shoes.
You have me
You-
intrigued.
It is definitely gratification
Okay.
at the end. These shoes were a challenge, like on several levels. Not to spoil, I'll give you a little
Yes.
snippet of the book.
Yes.
I'm very particular. I am definitely my father's daughter.
Yes.
When we say we would like one thing, we want that one thing. Don't get the knockoff, don't get something different branded. We want that one thing.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that I'm very hard to buy for. And I'm like, no, I give you exactly what I want. So,
I know it. Please.
and in that process, I didn't get the feedback that I wanted. And so it literally left me, again, navigating my worth,
Mm,
right? And it wasn't about the value because I could have went and bought my own shoes. It wasn't about at that point in my life, but he asked what I wanted. I said this, and it was a whole thing. And I write about that of how it left me going, wait, do I not deserve this? And it shifted again, another shift in my personal relationship of what I value and what I'm letting someone else value. And the shoes were purchased, and several shoes have been purchased since, and every time I wear them it takes me back to what I have grown, and it's taken me back to those days in Paris when my mom, it's funny, we walked 45,000 steps in Paris because we went to four different boutiques of his to find these shoes, and that pit, I did buy some lip gloss, but that was it. And then seeing other shoes and none of them fit because I have Fred Flintstone feet, and I have to wear slingbacks, and I have a certain type of foot. So not the normal signature shoes fit me. And so it was a very challenging, and then I grew from that. And so yeah, in the book it's got a couple of different metaphors
yes.
for really being grounded and walking in with just presence and history and knowledge. And really, when it's uncomfortable, I know that I'm comfortable because of what achieved and what I've become.
Pure legend, pure icon. Yes. I'm really excited to purchase your book. And for everybody listening, we will drop all of her information, how to get in touch with her, LinkedIn. I would love to ask you one last question.
That really is a poster of mine. And what I kind of live now is you don't need perfect words. You just need a clear message. That's the first thing. And then keep walking, even when it's unclear and even when it's uncomfortable. Because there are times when, especially being in sales, you sit in your car and you're like getting yourself pumped up, listening to the crazy music. You're ready to go make, contact and cold calling and from everything is you literally want there's some uncomfortable things and just remember that just keep on walking because one step is better than no steps no matter how small, no matter how big. I remember a time when a girlfriend called me and she's like, oh, I'm really having a bad day, and I go, did you get up? She's like, yeah, but I haven't got dressed, I'm this. I go, you, congratulations, pat yourself on the back, you got up. That is one step closer to than you were before. And so we really need to applaud those moments of the shifts, the feeling grounded. So that's the piece that I would leave is that keep walking. No matter how hard, no matter whatever, just keep walking because you know what? It does get better at the end of the day. It does shift. It does something else comes apart.
Yes.
And always lead with your heart.
What a beautiful, beautiful ending. One step and always lead with your heart. There's something that there is really someone that is listening to us right now, and they're in the middle of the hard season and they're feeling everything that you have spoke today. And today's episode was just so powerful. This wasn't just about business, this was about becoming, this is about the glass ceiling, this is about your legacy and the legacy that you're portraying or you're bringing to the world. If you would like to stay in contact and go deeper into her leadership, her insights, and you can find her on LinkedIn, Facebook, oh my
Sabra.
gosh, Sabra Taylor Smith. And if today's episode spoke to you, here's what I want you to take with. You're not lost. You're just becoming someone new. And that version of you, she requires a different way of walking. This really comes from this whole episode. And again, thank you so much for being here today with us. Truly an honor. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.